Dudes, I pulled some incredibly good rares from, would you believe it, mystery shards on my free-to-play account. Got so lucky to get my hands on good old Gnarlhorn and Apothecary within like the first few weeks of this free-to-play account, which is just insane as hell. But dude, what are some of the best rare champions in the game that basically everybody can safely take up to at least level 50, if not all the way up to 60, and use forever on their account, right? We're talking faction wars, secret rooms, even finding their places into just very quick dungeon kill teams, right? Or cheat codes into certain bosses as well. Some little hints for you there as for what we've got coming in this video. I'm going to try and narrow it down to 5 picks. We'll cover some honorable mentions towards the end of the video. And if there's any rare champion that you would absolutely recommend that somebody build out on their account, no matter what, make sure to pop it down below in the comments as well. Bearing in mind both free-to-play players as well as the spenders, man. Anyway, man, speaking of free-to-players, welcome to my free-to-play account. By the way, things are going grand. We're 40 days in just now, and it is not too late for you to join me in my free-to-play adventure, my free-to-play series on this channel. Why not sign up to Raid right now and start off your own second account, if you will, using the beginner promo link that is down below in the video description box, man. Hit that link and download Raid with that link and you'll get yourself 4 free epic champions to jumpstart your new account. And it's just an incredible beginner promo link that's going to get you off to the most ridiculous, ungodly start in the history of all of Raid Shadow Legends, man. So click that link now and do it, goddammit. Just make sure that you are signed out. Plarium player, man, before you click on that link if you're on PC, so that, yeah, you make a new account the right way and get your hands on all those saucy rewards. Let's get Cold Hat out the way, man. She's one of the 5 picks that we got for this video, because obviously, like, what even is this? Do we even have to talk about Cold Hat? I mean, she's just absolutely obscene, right? Quadruple hitter on her A1, also brings a heal reduction debuff, which is pretty solid, honestly, in a couple of areas of the game. It's going to help you out early, it's going to help you out late. Quadruple hitter into Fire Knight is just ridiculous. Stupid as hell, really. She's going to tackle enemies on the A2, brings decreased accuracy. And her notorious A3, which can just hit for, I don't know, millions against like higher stage bosses, things like Spider and stuff like that. I use her into Fire Knight as well, of course. It's an attack one enemy, decrease the target's turn meter by 100% with an extra 30% chance of building a crit. So on top of all this, you only have to build her with 70% crit rate as well. The rest you can put into just meeting accuracy standards and then just damage and crit damage. And damage increases according to enemy max HP, of course, which is why the son of a gun hits so hard. Cold Hat, every single account in Raid probably either has or should have a level 60 Cold Hat in their roster. That's it, man. Best Raid champion in the game, pretty much bar none. Christ, build 2 of them. You might as well. It's going to drastically speed up your Fire Knight clear speed. And you're going to delete bosses like Spider. Yeah, she's just absolutely insane. We don't have to spend any more time on Cold Hat, to be honest. I'm going to get straight into the controversial picks. And again, bear in mind, please, before you hit dislike on the video, that we're going to cover a bunch of honorable mentions towards the end of the video as well, because it's really very hard to narrow these down. But I would say that based on experience on my main account, dude, I still think people massively sleep on Diabolist. I really do, man. I think people are crazy as hell. I think people are nuts. I think that people don't rate this champ anywhere near highly enough. And the reason I say that most accounts are going to have a level 50 Diabolist, you don't have to take her all up to 60. You can just leave her at level 50. It's fine, you know, it's not a big deal. She is so easy to get, dude. Like, you are going to have a fully skill booked up Diabolist after playing the game for like 30 days. You know, it's so easy to get her fully skilled up. Then she brings the increased speed, strong version, which is crazy as hell. I think she might actually be the only Demon Spawn champion in the game that brings the strong version of like AoE increased speed as well. The only Demon Spawn champion in the entire game that brings this buff to that faction. That is pertinent. That is important, okay? That's huge for faction wars, huge for secret rooms, right? Crazy as hell. And then of course she brings some turn meter fill and enemy turn meter decrease as well on the A3, which is just fine. Small chance to place a sleep on the A1. Doesn't really matter. Most important thing is this increased speed buff. And she's just free. She's just free. So like everybody just ignores her, dude. Like, I don't know, man. Diabolist at level 50. I still use her to this day on my main account. I still see myself using her as part of like my Demon Spawn Faction Wars team and stuff well into the future, because you gotta remember as well, man, you gotta have at least one rare champion on your Faction Wars teams anyway, just in case you get the advanced quest for defeating a Faction Wars stage with at least one rare on your team. And so you need a rare champ to do that job. For a lot of people, it's gonna be Fellhound. But yeah, I think that Diabolist is an amazing shout. Next up, before we head into a happy little dwarf down at the bottom over here, hey man, if you haven't used good old promo code GameLeap already, the code is active, man, for a limited time once again. So if you missed your chance to use it in the past, use it now, gosh darn it, to get your hands on 10 free experience brews, 100,000 silver, and an energy refill, man. You might as well, you know what I'm saying? Okay, man. The Dwarf faction. Who could this possibly be? Could it be Khazad Deepheart? No, it's actually not, man. It's Master Butcher. Why do I say Master Butcher? Because if Master Butcher is the first champion that you build to just hard counter Dreadhorn Bommel in normal mode Doom Tower, then you probably don't build the likes of Lady Annabelle to solo Dreadhorn Bommel. And so you're just using Master Butcher forever. And so he fits the context of this video, okay? This guy is an insane rare cheat code, man. Absolutely unbelievable, okay? So the way that Dreadhorn Bommel works is that he summons bomb minions that then explode against your team and deal 40% of their total health as damage. Why does Master Butcher counter this so well? And it's very tough, by the way. Like, Bommel is such a pain to take on in Doom Tower. Well, Bommel has a couple of very key passives, man. On passive number 1, when attacked, heals all allies equal to the amount of damage taken. Does not work against bosses, except Dreadhorn Bommel's bombs don't count as bosses. They count as minions, right? They count as enemy champions because they're like summoned adds during the fight, right? And so when those bombs detonate and deal 40% of Master Butcher's health as damage, as long as Master Butcher has the most health on your team, he will always heal the rest of your team and himself for more damage than the rest of your team are taking, right? Because, yeah, it's based on the amount of damage that Master Butcher takes. So if he just has the most health, you're good to go, right? You just have to build him to live. And so he's such a crazy cheat code into that boss. Also on his passive, revives a random ally with full HP when this champion is killed. Hopefully he just never dies, right? That's his only job. Now that said, he does have some other good skills as well. He's got a chance of playing Provoke on his A1, which is just fine. On his A2, he has a place Provoke debuff on an enemy for a couple of turns, then an increased crit rate buff and increased attack buff on all allies for a couple of turns as well. So brings a little bit of utility and stuff for faction wars, a little bit of extra control and stuff like that, but mostly as just probably the best rare like boss cheat code in the game, for like a single purpose at least for Bommel. Master Butcher is just ridiculous and absurd. So yeah, I feel like he had to make this list. Next up, man, we've got the Ogrin tribes, and dudes, Bellower is the man. Okay, this guy right here, he might not be the fastest campaign farmer in the game, but he has multiple uses as well, and that's what we're going to get into, right? I built this guy out on my main account. He can act as a campaign farmer. He's like 1 second slower than Fellhound, and so he's still pretty goddamn fast. You know, if you're going to build out a champion just to be a campaign farmer, Bellower can do the job in like 7 or 8 seconds, built out correctly, and just wipe us with all of the waves, and that's great, because all of his skills attack all enemies, which is grand, right? Now, why Bellower is so goddamn strong is because you just put this guy in a goddamn stun set. He's got attack all enemies on all of his skills as well. He becomes a wave control god, right? And then you can build out his masteries so that he has an extra 5% chance to land a stun off of artifact effects. And so once you've got his masteries fully built out, he's landing even more control against enemy waves by just spamming out all of these skills. I actually have my Bellower built out in a stun set, but he's also doing enough damage to be my campaign farmer, so he can definitely do both roles at once as well, pretty comfortably, to be honest, which is also great. And on top of all of that, he places all kinds of weak versions of debuffs, right? Weak version decreased attack, weak version decreased defense, and also decreased speed, and even block active skills as well, which, what the hell, I actually forgot about that one. But all of these weak versions of debuffs, if you get your Bellower awakened, right, and you unlock blessings on your Bellower, I forget the name of the goddamn blessing, but it's one of the green blessings that gives you a chance to apply the strong version of a debuff instead whenever you're applying a weak version, right? And so these, suddenly you can be applying the strong version, decreased attack, decreased defense, and decreased speed as well on his skills too. He is a wave killing god that you use basically everywhere, wherever you can use Ogrin tribes and any kind of wave control is required. And the fact he can double up as a campaign farmer as well is just, it's just nuts. It's unbelievable, right? If you already got a campaign farmer sorted, then maybe you don't quite need the Bellower, which brings us on to the last champ that we're going to cover, at least in my list, before I get to the honorable mentions, for the Lizard Men faction. Wait a minute, it's not the Lizardmen faction, it's in the Demon Spawn faction, where, yeah, we're just going to revisit Fellhound, because frankly, if you pull Fellhound, like before Bellower, and you're trying to build out a campaign farmer, then Fellhound is just the doggo for the job. Fastest animations in the game make him, I think he's still probably the fastest campaign farmer in the game, and it's just not that close, right? Is it like a 6-second campaign clear up? Something absolutely ridiculous, you know. Fastest in the game for the job. Build out your Fellhound as a campaign farmer to just one-shot all of the waves, and you'll never have to look back. And then, of course, you can also use them in various other areas of wave content as well. And so Fellhound has got to be worth a shout out for that purpose. Now, man, time for the goddamn honorable mentions, because, you know, I probably missed off like the favorite picks for a lot of people in the comments who would disagree with a lot of my picks, man. But that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Videos like this are great for discussion in the comments. How could I have a list like this without an honorable mention for War Maiden, best rare champ in the game for placing decreased defense debuff for a couple of turns. In fact, the land rate of this decreased defense being 100% on a 3-turn cooldown for a rare champion, like, she's in the mix with epic champions in terms of the quality of this skill. And of course, she has the added perk of being campaign farmable, meaning that you don't have to use any skill books at all on your War Maiden to fully max out this skill. An incredible champ. Usually we're taken up to at least level 50 for faction wars for most players anyway. Or if you get it early on and you don't have any better options for decreased defense, you can take her up to level 60 as well, man. She's a fantastic champ, especially for free-to-play accounts that are just a bit more strapped for resources. Next up, man, we got to touch on one of the champs that I did pull, which is, of course, going to be Apothecary. This is definitely a champ that's in the conversation for one of the best rare champions in the game as well. It really just depends on when you pull him. You know, if you don't pull him super early on, like on my main account, I've not really touched him. I have him. He's just kind of sitting there at like level 27 or something, like still 3 stars. But on my free-to-play account, having this guy early is nuts. The triple hit on the A1 is absolutely unbelievable into things like early Fire Knight. Really unlocks that area of the game for you on your account where you're going to be blasting down all of those Fire Knight shield stacks. Very good indeed. You can also get your masteries leveled up on Apothecary and get him the Giant Killer or Giant Slayer mastery, which gives you a chance to deal extra percentage health damage on hit, or like per hit, and so a triple hitter. Fantastic synergy with that mastery. Brings a heal that can crit, and of course brings the strong version of increased speed and some turn meter fill as well on his A3. So just all incredible tools for an early game account. And Apothecary well in the conversation, particularly if you pull him, I'd say in the first like 3 or 4 months of your account, right? Next up, we have good old Gnarlhorn, man. Where is he? Skinwalkers. We've also pulled this guy as well. Probably the best rare provoker in the game. Kind of ban on. I don't know, dude. 310 cooldown. Places a provoke debuff on all enemies for 110 because he's not attacking in. It can't weak hit. So you don't have to worry about it like weak hitting and missing or resisting whatever against negative affinity trades. And also gets a little bit of an increased defense buff on himself as well. I think the only reason Gnarlhorn isn't going to be up at the top of the list is because, again, it's a 310 cooldown provoke. The rest of his kit is fine. He just get to place an unkillable buff on himself as well for a couple of turns on his A3, which is actually great. Okay, fair enough. Now, screw it. He does deserve to be on the list. What am I even talking about, man? This skill combined with an AoE provoke is just nuts. Okay, for a rare champion, well worth being part of the conversation. Next up, we've got good old Renegade, who I believe is part of Knights Revenant faction. Void rare for the Knights Revenant. And with Renegade, it's really all about her A3. So it's a 510 cooldown when fully booked. Decrease the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns. The skill does not affect this champion. Blah, 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 blah. This champion will receive damage equal to a bunch of their max HP as damage when they use this skill. So yeah, she can kind of self-delete a little bit, so you have to keep her safe, keep her secret, right? But this skill, I mean, it's a legendary quality skill, man. In fact, I think that isn't like, there's only like a couple of other champions in the entire game that even have a skill like this. I think Plarium just stopped making them because it was just breaking the game. And someone was just talking about in the stream chat how there's a spider speed kill team for taking on Spider's Den, where you just run like 2 renegades and 3 cold hearts, and they just eviscerate the spider in seconds because of the ridiculousness of this skill, you know. Yeah, it's just an insane skill, useful into basically all areas of the game, which I think is Renegade's main strength, is that she just works everywhere and in basically any team to get your strongest champions using their skills more. That's really all there is to it, man. So Renegade is going to be part of the conversation too. We've also got, there's more honorable mentions than picks, dude, but whatever, dude, we're doing it, man. Next up, we've got to touch on good old, where is she, man? Reliquary Tender. Oh my god. Maybe the best, just like out and out, like hard support, healer, debuff cleanser in the game in terms of rare champions. In fact, I think it's not even close, you know. She's got a chance of placing decreased attack weak version on the air 1. She has a 3-turn cooldown, remove all debuffs from all allies, and then place a continuous heal on them for a couple of turns on the air 2. Insane the value that you're going to get from this skill. Help them into various Doom Tower bosses. Spider, Nether Spider, of course, in Doom Tower as well. Just great stuff. And then she also brings a revive on her A3 as well. Again, this is a kind of champ you can just build to level 50 if you want, and she's going to do an incredible amount of work for you, at least for 3-starring faction wars, but also certainly possibly in other areas of the game as well with this cleanse. Reliquary Tender, crazy as hell, nuts. I'm actually be taking up to level 60 on my main account, purely because I pulled the 6-star Perfect Soul for Reliquary Tender, so it's the law, okay? If you pull a 6-star Perfect Soul for a thing, you have to 6-star it, man. At least as far as I'm concerned. So some people in the chat actually just talk about other rare champions that you can maybe consider. Gear Grinder was kind of thrown out as an option, and I think he's a good shout. Don't get me wrong, if you need a revive for your Ogren tribes, you just bring a revive on his A3, which is lovely. Also brings a little bit of AoE healing on his A2, which is fine, and a continuous heal attack if his attack is a crit, which is a little bit rough of a stat check to meet on like a support style champion, but fair enough. Brings a little bit of extra healing on the continuous heal on the A1. So revive, bit of healing. I just want to go ahead and compare Gear Grinder to what's probably going to be the final champ that we cover in this video, and that is going to be Tree Shield Not, right? And why Gear Grinder is a good champ, but he's not going to make the list, right? We're talking about champs that you're going to use for a long time here. You know what I'm saying? Tree Shield Not doesn't just revive one champ, nay. He revives 2 random allies, 25% health, 25% turn meter, and then shields the crap out of them a little bit, which is good because they don't revive with much health, but it's a double revive on a rare champion, which is crazy as hell. Same cooldown, by the way, as Gear Grinder's revive. And then Gear Grinder brought a 15% heal on his A2. Compare that to Tree Shield Knots. He also brings a 50% heal on a 310 cooldown on his A2. However, he also brings an increased defense buff as well on the A2 as well. So he's just kind of bringing like that extra spice. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's really going to set these champions apart and make them pretty much, I wouldn't say must builds for every account, but certainly if you happen to build them in the first like 4 or 5 months of your account, you're probably going to use them forever. You know, that's just kind of the nature of the quality of the rares that we're covering in this video. And to be honest, I think that's pretty much all I got for must builds for rare champions. There's a lot of good rare champions in this game. Stun set rares, right? Other rare revivers and stuff like that. Some great rare champions, you know? Better than average rare nukers even, and stuff like that. But these might just be the cream of the crop. So, hope you guys did enjoy. If you feel like I missed any rares off of this list, make sure to go ahead and plot them down below in the comments, god damn it. And make sure that while you're down there, if you're looking to start off a new raid account, start a new raid account right now, man. Do it today by clicking on the beginner promo link in the description box of this video, man. Make sure that you sign out of Plarium and Play on PC, hit that link, download raid, 4 free epic champions will be delivered to your account as you level your account, and it's just the best beginner promo link. Go on, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's crazy as hell. You should use it and join me on my free-to-play adventure. It's going to be incredible. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all did enjoy this one, and I'm going to catch all of y'all just a tad bit later, man.